I'm gonna say I've never really done anything like this before. I'm a singer, so I'm just gonna be me, and I'm gonna tell you my story of how this all happened. And so it started in I'm just gonna jump to here, the little country of Belize, which is right in the dead center there, beside Guatemala. And so I went there. That's the flag. And I went there, and this is the little island, a little island called Key Cocker, and it's right on the barrier reef. You can see where the water changes color and it just drops off into the ocean. And I went there, I think, in '99 for the first time on just a vacation, and I loved it. And it's a beautiful little island. The island is 500 meters wide and about 1 kilometer long. There's no cars. It's just sandy little paths. And I went back again and again and again, and I kind of started. There's a shot of the island there, the blue hole is there, and so it's a very popular place for tourism because of diving and the Mayan ruins. And so the more I hung out there, I would go back a few times. I started to get to know people, and I started drifting back into the back of the island and finding. Oh, that kind of sums up the island right there. The island and find the little places, the more mom and pops restaurants and the local shops, and see kind of how people who lived there their whole lives lived, not up at the fancy pretty front. And see, there's a barber shop. That's just a chair. And
hashtag barber.
Yeah, hashtag barber. Yeah. So, and then I met some people. I met a woman named Danny Michele, who's from Victoria, BC, and her and a lady named Heidi Curry, who's from Texas, started a high school there. This is the elementary school, and the problem in Belize is the education system is not paid for. So for the kids to, they basically go to grade 7, grade 8, and then they all drop out. Because, especially being on this island, for them to pay for water taxis to go into the mainland, to go to a school and get to the school and get back to the boat and get back to the island, it's too expensive. And you add in their tuition and books and uniforms and water, even they charge for at the school and stuff. There's no high school on the island. So on the island, the kids get to grade 8 and it's over. So Heidi and Joni decided they would start a school, and they had this idea and they opened it up, and on they were expecting maybe they'd get like 5 or 6 students, and the first day I think like 65 families showed up with their kids, but of course no one can afford to do it. So Joni asked me, because she's Canadian, she knew me and she knew I liked going there, so she asked me, could you help us try to raise $1,000, and that would put one child through school. And I think I don't know where we are here. Oh, that's the school. And so the idea was to come up with $1,000, and that would pay for one child to be able to go to school. And I thought we could do better than that. And so I sat down with her and I said, listen, what would really help? What would help, make a bigger difference than one child? And she did some math, and she said, well, if we had like $33,000, we'd pay off all the school bills, we'd pay the teachers who haven't been paid. They're 2 months behind being paid. All the kids who are in, because they don't turn away a child usually. They'll let them in, and then they'll try to figure out how to finance it. So she said that would kind of put us back at 0 for the year, and it'd be a nice. So I said, well, let's try doing it. And I've never done anything like this in my life, nothing. And I'm just going to show you some more pictures of the school. So that's the school. There's a little path to the school, and it's the back of the island, and this is right behind an airport and a dump. And there's a third. This is when the 3rd floor was being put on, and it's a great little place. And there's the 3rd floor. I was just there a few weeks ago. So there's now 2 classes on the top right. So we're trying to get 2 more. So and this is what the average room looks like. That's the library being held up by a car tire over there. And the kids are amazing. That's Heidi, and that's the library again. It's the PA system for the school.
Fender, I love it.
Someone donated an amp.
Yeah.
That's the staff room. And That's out the back, sadly, because that's a dump, and the kids have to be careful back there because there's crocodiles, so don't go behind the school. And but the kids are incredible kids, and they have so much pride, and they're so it's very important for them to like always look good. And here they are cleaning up, sweeping up the driveway into the school. Maybe that is actually detention, I think, actually. And their little banners they put all over. And here's some of the faces of some kids, just because it's always nice to see them. And he's just great. He's graduated. He's fully gone through. So is Artie, that guy. He's a character. He's now going to college in Belize City, so that's fantastic. I love their textbooks. You can see the little kid in the bottom has, unlike ours, he has dreadlock. There's a kid with dreadlocks in their books. So this is kind of the first meeting I had with Heidi and Joni, and kind of figuring out how we could do this. And so I'd never done anything like this in my life, and I just started. But what I did do is I started thinking to myself, what is it about charities that irk me, that make me not want to donate? And what I think I don't like is when I think, well, I make a donation and then that's it. I don't really know where my money went. I don't, I don't get a big follow-up. And so I thought, I'm going to make this as personal as possible. And so I told everyone, here's my story. This is what I'm going to do. If you make a donation, I'm going to post constantly every penny where it's going to go, and I'm going to get on a plane, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to video. Oh, messages coming in. That's weird.
It's from a donor.
It's from a donor.
Yeah.
Is that Jude? Jude, stop texting. I don't know. So I said, so I'm going to go there, and I'm going to videotape, and I videotaped everything, and I put it on a website, and everybody seemed to really love that. They loved, I think, to see me actually roll up the driveway and have the, and see Danny's actually there with the videos, and here's our money. So it started. So this was the first day when we had $335, or first, I think I threw in $200 right away, and then my friends threw in the rest, and that's where we started, which is amazing when I look back at it. And then there's some letters from the kids, and then the kids started sending this stuff. And so it was a great social media thing where I felt like we have to keep giving people stuff to let them know. And then the school started growing. And here's, they're making solar ovens and cooking a wiener in there.
Oh.
And
Pringles box.
in a Pringles box,
Yeah.
And then with a tissue or like a plastic cover over it. And then they'd sit in the sun. And it would get pretty hot out there.
Yeah.
And so more just shots of the school. That's math class, and then we started teaching guitar to the kids. And this is Mr. Scotty. He's a guy who's lived on the island for years and years. He's the nicest guy, and he would collect instruments from the States and have them bring. And he would just bring gear all the time, and he's a big part. That's Daniel. He's a great guy. He's in his last year, so he'll be graduating. That's me teaching guitar. And then, okay, so after the first kind of few months of this, we raised a lot of money. We came up with $20,000.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, well, we got to go down and give them the money. And well, actually, I got myself in some real hot water when it started again. I said, I don't know how to do this. I thought, well, I'll just open a PayPal account and I'll put it all in there. Because I have to have a way for people to donate, and then we'll transfer it to them. And all of a sudden, this PayPal account had like $17,000 and the like IRS or whatever called me, right? And they shut this account, got closed, and they were like, "What is this money?" And they got all suspicious, and I didn't see that coming. I was very naive, and I was trying to explain it's for a school. We're trying to, and they like held the money. And they wouldn't give it back to me. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? People have donated this money and it's gone. Yeah. Anyways, I somehow got them to release that, and we figured out another way through a site called Global Giving that does it all legit. And then so the donation goes directly into the school's account. So I'm no longer the middleman holding all this cash. And then I took off.
Yeah.
Then I showed up with $20,000. I didn't hack that. It was just showed up to have a ceremony,
Yeah.
and I didn't know. I was completely unprepared. I showed up and they had a big check. We made a big check, and I just got off a plane. You can see my shorts and t-shirt. I just stepped off a plane, and there was like a little parade or something for me. The kids came and got me. It was ridiculous. And this is the guy in the yellow shirt is the minister of tourism and aviation. And he was apparently a big deal. So he came, and all these people came, and they had this big thing, and the TV station. There's only one. Okay. And the kids made me all these cards. It was really great. They're great at making cards, which is amazing because that's what they can do for you. So I have like at home stacks and stacks of these things, which are the most rewarding awards I've ever got in my career. And this was going back a second time. I think it was a dress down day. They were allowed to wear whatever they want that day. And again, I got there with more and more cards. Again, I'm kind of tearing up here, I think, from all of them. And I think that's something I never expected out of this, how incredibly rewarding it would be. So here's the checking out the third floor, and then this is a day we spent. I'm thinking, yeah, in Belize it's like there were no covers even on the electrical. Like there's electrical cables sticking out everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is so unsafe. So I went and and they had no tools, so I'm using a protractor to screw, or not a protractor. What is that? It's a,
Compass?
Yeah, part of a
Plastic thing, right?
Yeah. Anyways, that was my tool to put plastic plates on the covers in the classrooms. And then we're repairing desks one day. There's like 20, fixing desks. And the kids always get artistic. And taking the old picnic tables and cleaning them up. And that's the classroom after we painted it. A bunch of volunteers. Some of you may know Brenly in the white t-shirt. She's in a band called Madison Violet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Brenly came down and joined me for a day painting with the kids. And then there's, what do we have? We made graduation 2013, so then that's me and the principal, Miss Hilda, and we're putting their diplomas in their envelopes, and it was a great day. And so, I mean...
That was the first graduating class?
No, that was the first one that I got down to during graduation. Oh, these are getting me all verklempt.
What school system are they part of a bigger school system tied in with one, or is that they're like this?
They're their own little system out on this island. I mean, they're trying to.
Very small island.
Yeah, it's a very small island. So, yeah. So this was graduation. Oh, sorry, repeated photo. That's me pretending I know what I'm like inspecting something. Looking good. This is just like 2 weeks ago. I was there again, and the kids again. They made me a cake because it was my birthday. And so there's Daniel. That was I think the first time I met Daniel, and there he is on the left there. I don't know if he looks a little older to you. He looks a lot older to me. And this little gal's brand new. She's a new student, so I just met her. And these are two new students. These guys are great. And the school just won. This is an award that they, Heidi and Joni went to South Africa. There was this Beyond Sports Award where they picked out of 350 causes or charities in the world. They won. The school won. So that was really good for them. And so now there's today we're at $68,000. And then, okay, so then this rewarded me in a lot of ways that I didn't know, was coming. And spending so much time in Belize, I started learning about the music of Belize.
Yeah.
And so I'll just tell you about, there's a guy named Andy Palacio. He was the Elvis of Belize. Sadly, he passed away about 6 years ago. And Martinez, this guy, and this is Paul Nabor. Paul Nabor sings on my record, and sadly Paul just passed away about 6 months ago too. Paul was, he was the Johnny Cash of Belize, I would say. He was great. And so I started really, getting into and then I discovered a
Yeah.
band called the Garifuna Collective,
Yeah.
and through all these records, I started reading on the back of all these records. I read they're all recorded in the same studio, one little studio in a place called Bankhead. So I contacted that studio and said, hey, I love all this music. I'd like to come make a record with you. And they were looking at me like, who is this little Canadian guy who wants to? And I remember I went there and I played them my songs, and they all just stood there and went. Like they didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. And I remember I talked to them. We were trying to record, and I was explaining like a beat, and I was like, that beat like in Heart of Gold by Neil Young.
Yeah.
Just real simple.
Neil
And they
Young?
all went, what's that?
What's a Neil Young?
They had no idea who Neil Young was, and I was like, okay. So then I put on my iPod and I played Neil Young, and Heart of Gold started playing, and it was, I wanna live, and they all just started laughing so hard, and they were just like, you're kidding, you're joking, and I was like, wow. And it was so interesting to hear the music we love through their ears, and to them it was just ridiculous, just ridiculous. So I immediately was like, okay, stop telling them about this music. And so anyways, I talked them into making a record with me, and there we are. This is at the Winnipeg Folk Festival, and then we toured North America. This is that's Winnipeg, I think, yeah. And that's me and the band. That's like the coolest band shot I've ever been in.
Yeah.
They're coming back into Toronto, actually, in July. We're playing the Pan Am Games. And we played every little, the Cameron House, if you've ever been in there, that's kind of the size of like a bathroom. It's the tiniest place in the world. We had like an 8-piece band on that stage. That was a fun night. This is in New York City.
Where'd you play in New York
The
City?
boys, when they got to Toronto, they just went walking to Toronto.
Where'd you play in New York?
Uh,
What size club?
Oh, you got me now.
Oh, yeah.
It was to Bowery Ballroom.
Right.
It's Josh in Denmark. So I mean, all of this came from me just deciding that I was going to try to help raise $1,000 for the kids at the school, which I had no idea this was going to happen, and this has been like the coolest adventure of my life. Even though it's come with its struggles, it's been amazing. This is in Courtenay, BC, up on the island. Desiree getting the whole town to dance. And then the record got nominated for a Juno for Best World Music Record. And so the kids were every day posting stuff to the Junos for me, like that I should win.
Yeah.
And we lost. So the kids, they made me this, which is, they made me that, sent me that. That's the best music album and world music album. And so that beats any Juno.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So, and then this is, that's
Intercell Rodeo.
Intercell, that's Shauna's festival, at Intercell Rodeo in Edmonton. That was a good time. And that's when they got to play with, they played with Jim Cuddy too, which is really funny because they have no idea who that is. And, Vancouver Folk Festival. Yeah, that's, everybody got invited up on stage. That was crazy. So it just turned into this wonderful adventure. Luminato Fest in Toronto. And I think that kind of sums everything up. That's a great picture. Burnstown, Ontario. Designate. And so I think that kind of sums it up. I mean, this was the adventure I went on, and like I said, I was rewarded in many, many, many ways that I had no idea it was coming, and it's still happening daily, and that's my story.
Yeah, that's great.
For people to make a donation?
No, if they wanted to have something similar to what you've done, maybe not specifically to this school, but if they wanted to do something and start from scratch, what would you recommend?
Oh, I would just say find something that you believe in, and don't be afraid to just go for it. I mean, I just dove in. I didn't check the water. I just dove in. Maybe you should, but it's kind of how I do a lot of things in my career, in my life. I like to get up. I like to be outside my comfort zone and challenge myself to do stuff. So,
And is there an existing structure that you can tap into that makes it easier? Like a way to get donations, or rather than PayPal?
well, I think social media being used in a clever way is very powerful. I mean, I actually really learned, when I did this is when I really learned about, first I was like Facebook and things like that,
Yeah.
what's this? But I did all